channel. We're going to be talking about today my 2007 Range Rover TDV8 Vogue. This is a car that I bought as a stopgap when my 300 TDI Discovery decided to fail its MOT. Luckily it only failed it on discs and parts of the rear and a prop trap bearing and a couple of other little bits and bobs, but I did buy it basically for YouTube because I wanted to live with this car for the next 3 months and then give you my honest opinion on whether you should buy it or not, because I've always loved the L322, obviously the TD6, that was one of the project cars. That TD6 then sold because I had alternator issue. We fixed the alternator issue. A couple of days later we had a heavy downpour and it caused all sorts of electrical issues. It was like it was possessed, sadly, and it was just one of those things where I really just didn't have the time for it. I just kept on using my 300 TDI Discovery 1 because it's pretty much bulletproof. It requires very, very little maintenance, just, you know, an oil filter service, and, you know, everything is pretty much very cheap on them anyway to fix. And usually when it has a problem, or if it has a problem, it points to one direction and that's it. So I bought this TDV in November 2023, and this car, when I bought it, had, I think it was 174,000 miles, I think it was, 174,000 miles. It then went through its MOT and passed its MOT in flying colours, to be fair. My friend John owned it before me. He did an injector on it, and it's been my daily driver since November. We're now into middle of March. I was going to do a 3 months test, but actually it's more than 3 months because we had a couple of weeks off where this was off the road waiting to be repaired, and the auxiliary belt had sheared itself, and there was like one rib or two ribs left on the auxiliary belt, and that was a week after the power steering pump decided, the power steering cooler decided to let go. We looped out the cooler because obviously we're in the middle of winter at the moment and we didn't really require the power steering cooler, so we looped out at the moment. We will be putting the power steering cooler back on though, that is for definite. Cost wise, it hasn't actually cost me a lot of money, this car, on repairs, because the power steering loop out I managed to get done with the bumper on and just take the undertray off, and then the auxiliary belt tensioners and the belt was only like £159. Somebody did it from a garage where I take my cars to, and I think he charged about £120. The full front end of the car had to come off, but luckily at the front these are sort of built like a Meccano set. Literally there's only a couple of bolts holding everything on, and you know, you can pretty much take everything off quite easily. Cost wise, it has been my daily driver. I have been doing 150 to 180 miles a week. Fuel, I'm getting around about between 17 to 20 mpg round town if I'm lucky. Now the fuel that I put in, I always put in Shell. I haven't been using anything else apart from Shell, and like I said, depending on the mood I'm at when I'm driving, I've been doing about 150 to 180 miles a week with work, and then since then I've been doing probably another 20 to 30 miles running around just for my own things, you know, my own errands, going to see my dad, going to see my friends in Newcastle, and so on and so forth. That's probably cost around about £70 a week, I think, maybe something around about that. It's 70 to 80 pounds a week, I think it is, to run one of these as a daily driver with the mileage I've just sort of told you there. MPG wise, like I said, most of my driving is actually around town. I very rarely get past 50 miles an hour, and when I go to work it's rush hour traffic. When I finish work it's rush hour traffic, so there's a lot of stop-start traffic, a lot of stop-start traffic, so that has obviously impacted on the MPG quite a bit. Like I said, some days I can see 20s, some days it goes down to 17. It just really does depend on obviously temperature and so on and so forth, and if I'm in a bit of a raggy mood. It has actually been fairly reliable, this, apart from obviously the auxiliary belt tensioner, and I bought it off John. Like I said, he replaced the injector on bank 1, and it still has an injector off now. This injector is only when you go full throttle, and if I'm honest with you, it's an L322 Range Rover. You do more often about. It's not an auto 60 car. You don't go racing down the bypass in it. It's literally just a nice wafting car. So if I'm hitting more than 30% throttle, I'm just not driving it for what it's really sort of designed for, which is a luxury off-roader, just to waft about in. I do take it down country lanes. I do take it down some narrow country roads. Obviously, where my dad lives, the roads are very bad. I have had it out in the snow this year. I've got some pictures here. We'll put them on the actual video now. But otherwise, it has actually been a fairly reliable car. Now, the 3.6 litre TDV8, absolute powerhouse, 272 horsepower, a shed load of torque. Things that you've really got to watch out for are things like turbos. If you buy a car, please watch our L322 buyer's guide, because that buyer's guide will give you all sorts of things to look out for throughout all the different models. This, like I said, this is 2007, so this is basically a second revision. The TD6 was off the table, as was the 4.4 M62 BMW V8 petrol, that was off the table. This, with it being a 2007, it had the updated interior as well, which I really like. I love them in black, with the black interior. There's something really nice about them. I do like the Chevy green, I think it's called, something like that. But the interior in the revision of this car and the exterior is probably one of my favourites, because it's simple yet elegant. You know, the stitching on the dashboard, the brush chrome finishes, the satin grey accents. You know, it's just a really nice place to be. And this, with it being a Vogue, it's got, you know, everything that you need, and everything works. You know, heated seat, heated steering wheel, air conditioning, heated climate control. I've got remote climate control, where I've got a little fob on my button, a fob attached to my keys, and I just basically look out my window, press it, and the little Webasto heater over there, that then boots up and that warms the car, which is really nice on a very chilly day here. We live in the northeast of England, and in the winters you can see temperatures going down to about -10 if it's really cold. So yeah, the true costs of running a TDV8 Range Rover as a daily. You've got fuel. Obviously, that fuel is going to be a massive amount, at 70 to 80 pounds a week. That's what I do. Like I said, I do between 180 and 240 miles or something like that. It is going to cost you quite a bit of fuel. Insurance is a massive thing at the moment. It really is a massive thing, and I've mentioned this on the buyer's guide as well. And if I'm honest with you, I had a TDV8 last year. I was going to do a video on it, but sadly it never happened, because what I thought was a turbo blue ended up being the injector, and I ended up selling the car. But the insurance on that car last May was £700 for the year, which I didn't think was too bad. 10 years no claims bonus, 1 fault claim, which I think was actually alright for what it was. Anyway, this car is effectively the same car as my last one, and the insurance cost for this car here is a staggering £1,250 for the year. Now, some people won't be able to comprehend that, and I fully understand, because I paid £2,000 for the car. It's £729 for the year for the road tax, because it's post 2006, and then I've paid £1,200 plus for the insurance. So I've effectively paid the car's worth for a year, plus bought the car. So I've spent £4,000 in basically in a year to buy the car, insure the car, and tax the car, and that doesn't include fuel. However, these cars do get underneath your skin. They ride superbly. It's comfortable. It's quick. There's some sort of airing of supremacy, I'm guessing. Sort of like, you know, it's hard to describe. It really is hard to describe. It's like you are, I wouldn't say above everybody else. Well, technically you are above everybody else, because obviously it is high up and you've got this high driving command position that you have on the L322. But it's something, it sort of has an occasion. Now, I use this car for doing tip runs, as you can see in the back there. That's all the stuff that's going to the tip today. I've also picked up a set of wheels for a P38 that I've got. So for me, I don't treat this like a luxury 4x4 and just like, you know, it's, for me, it's a bit of a workhorse. I take it to work, but I'm comfortable. I enjoy getting in the car. I enjoy driving it. And for me, that is where that sort of cost of what it costs to insure and tax outweighs the experience. Doesn't outweigh the experience that I actually get, because it is a fantastic car. It really, really is. The L322 is one of my favourite cars of all time, and a lot of people will you know, hate that, because, you know, they say, why don't you look at the Mitsubishi Shogun or the Toyota Land Cruiser? And it's just something about the L322. I think it's probably peak modern Range Rover. I'm talking about modern Range Rovers. I'm talking about the P38s, you know, when they all had BCEMs and so on and so forth. Obviously, this was a CAN bus car, and it had ridiculous amounts of wiring from factory. But there is just something about it. There is just genuinely something about it, and I do it. I adore it. There's just that airness of just luxury, the airness of, I was going to say reliability, but that's just a lie, absolute lie. It does have a robustness about it though, and it's a very hard thing to get, is robustness and luxury. Land Cruisers have a massive robustness, but personally I don't think they're very luxurious. Land Cruisers are probably the ultimate 4x4, but for me, this is the ultimate Range Rover, the L322. It just is. I'm sorry, but it just is. It's one of those cars that once you've owned one and you sell it, you're more likely going to get another one. This is my second. Now, in fact, no, sorry, I tell a lie, it's my third. TD6, TDV8, second TDV8. And if I'm honest with you, I'm probably going to sell this one and then buy a 4.2 supercharged variant or a 5 litre supercharged variant, because I honestly believe that the petrol ones are less of a headache than the diesel ones. Obviously, diesels, you can have the turbochargers fail. You know, it costs you about £3,500 to get them fixed from a specialist. You've got EGRs, you've got, you know, you can't really sort of tell what sort of life it's had, you know, because service history is a massive thing, but at the same time, it could have been serviced every year on the dot, and then somebody's put supermarket fuel in it, and it's just clogged up the system. For me, like I said, when you find a good one, you find a good one, but there's always going to be niggles. There really is. There's always going to be niggles on the L322s, as there is with pretty much any Land Rover product that's out there. Please check in the description below, because we're going to be doing the L322 Ultimate Buyer's Guide. It is a controversial buyer's guide though. I'm going to leave it there. But thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel. I will see you later.